Were there individual standouts in this game?
Yeah, Miami rotates on defense maybe a little bit too much, and I think that we saw some of that because the starting line players played pretty well. Nessa Silvera did get triple teamed. I saw Richard and Rasp, they were going back and forth about that. And people were talking about Nesta. I'm like, triple team, come on. Jared Harrison Hunt, I think, is our best defensive tackle. He needs to be starting, quite honestly. So he played pretty well, especially at the point of attack. Really just, being able to get penetration. Chiantra Smith at weak side linebacker, that's a dude. That's a guy. You want to get, 5, 10, 15 pounds of good muscle on him. So he's maybe Sean Spence sized there at that position, with that probably being the archetype that he's trying to design himself to be. But he's a guy, and he flashed on the field repeatedly. Corey Flagg also at middle linebacker. Now, they were a little bit out of position a couple times, and when the line got their hands on them, the Alabama offensive line got their hands on them. Like, those are small linebackers, so they're going to be, pushed around a little bit. But those two guys, at the linebacker position, played, I thought, pretty well on the whole of the game. The second string linebackers, I wish them well as people, but there have to be other options. I want to see Tyreek Austin Cave. I want to see Avery Huff. I want to see Chase Smith, who, in 2 years, you put 20 or 30 pounds on him, you move him from striker to linebacker, college or high school safety. And that's a dude, that's a guy at that spot. And I would like to see that more. You did get some run support from the rest of the defensive line. Zach McLeod, Chance Williams, who had the only sack in the game for Miami, Jafari Harvey. If you were watching the broadcast and you heard it, because it's in the pronunciation guide of everything, so I have not steered you wrong, because Mrs. Harvey came in my mentions a couple years ago. I'm trying to tell you, Jafari Harvey, also in run support. And then Tyreek Stevenson as a cornerback, big guy, 6 foot, 215, 220 as a corner. And also, hello, welcome to the show, number 24, Cam Kinchins, and number 0, James Williams, in that order, because Kinchins came in first after Bubba Bolden got rightfully and truly ejected for targeting, because that was as textbook as you could get, unfortunately for us. But both of those guys, they showed up pretty well, and especially in the run game. James Williams got downhill quickly and instinctually on a couple of plays. Cam Kinchins obviously was in there before that, filling in for Bolden. He made some good plays in the run defense as well. So those would probably be the individuals. Also, Chiantra Smith had some really good tackles. Corey Couch, small though he may be, plays with a big heart, man. He had a really good tackle on Brian Robinson for like only a 4-yard gain that probably would have went for 20 or 25 if not for him. So, yeah, there were individual standouts, and there were also plays you can point to for pretty much all those guys where they got pushed around and maybe a little manhandled. But in general, I would say that, yeah, those would be the guys who stood out. Bryce Young had 1 carry for 8. Roydell Williams had 6 carries for 3. Jason McClellan had 9 carries for 4. 4-yard average for those last two. So that's why, and then you had Robinson and Sanders had over 5 yards per attempt, even though Sanders was really buoyed by the 1 touchdown run against largely second stringers. Now, again, for Bama Boy, that statement is not to say that he doesn't score or that he's, that he doesn't do something positive. But against Miami's second string linebackers and things, it's just not the level of opposition. He's dancing here and there and he's gone. Maybe that's 15 instead of in the end zone. You know what I mean? And those are the differences that I'm talking about there. But yeah, some pretty good individual performances. And again, credit to the scheme employed by Manny Diaz in the defense, because if you know anything and you remember anything from last year, it's the fact that those 2 running backs from North Carolina are still running over, around, and through Miami defenders to this day, right now, today. That's how many yards and how they just eviscerated us So you come out and say, Alabama has the size and physicality difference and advantage, but we're going to scheme and we're going to play our asses off so that they don't do the same thing that Carolina did in that record-setting bad rushing performance. And to a large extent, you accomplish that. Now, again, pick your poison. You do that and play halfway decent against the run, and then you give up a literal record-setting day to Bryce Young, where everybody in America knows his name, and now he's the Heisman Trophy favorite.